The alien captain's hands shook as he stared at the sensor readings. His vessel, the most advanced scout ship in the United Galactic Fleet, drifted at the edge of what every spacefaring race called the Dark Zone. The instruments showed something massive lurking in that forbidden region of space, something that had been there for possibly millions of years. "Turn back," his second-in-command whispered, mandibles clicking with fear. "We've confirmed there's something there. That's enough for our report." They had good reason to be afraid. For centuries, ships that ventured too close to the Dark Zone either disappeared or returned with crews driven mad by nightmares. The few survivors babbled about voices in their heads and visions that broke their minds. But today was different. As the alien crew prepared to retreat, their long-range sensors detected an unexpected signal. A human exploration vessel was approaching the Dark Zone at full speed. Captain Tom Ross of the human exploration ship Pioneer stood on his bridge, watching the swirling colors of deep space through the main viewport. His crew of 30 worked quietly at their stations, monitoring the ship's approach to the mysterious region. Unlike the alien vessel hiding at the edge of their sensor range, the humans showed no sign of fear. "Are they really going in there?" the alien captain muttered, watching the humans on his display. "Don't they know about the warnings?" The Pioneer crossed the invisible boundary that marked the edge of the Dark Zone. The alien crew held their breath, waiting for the humans to turn back in terror like everyone else. Instead, Captain Ross's voice came through on an open channel, calm and clear. "Pioneer log, day 89. We're detecting unusual energy readings ahead. No sign of the negative effects reported by other species. Moving closer to investigate." As the Pioneer ventured deeper into the Dark Zone, they discovered something extraordinary. A massive crystalline structure floated in the void, its surface rippling with purple and blue energy patterns. The structure was roughly the size of a small moon, but it wasn't made of any material known to science. "Energy readings are off the charts," reported the Pioneer's science officer. "The crystal appears to be generating some kind of psychic field." Ross nodded, feeling an unexpected sense of peace wash over him. Anyone else feeling unusually calm? Around the bridge, his crew members nodded. While other species reported terror and madness near the crystal, humans experienced something entirely different. The closer they got, the clearer their thoughts became. The alien captain watched in disbelief as the Pioneer moved to within visual range of the crystal. His own crew cowered at their stations, fighting the urge to flee, even at this distance. But the humans were acting like they were on a peaceful sightseeing trip. "This is incredible," Ross said, standing up from his captain's chair. "The crystal isn't causing hallucinations or madness. It's trying to communicate." The Pioneer's sensors recorded everything as they circled the massive structure. The crystal's energy patterns shifted and pulsed, creating beautiful displays of light that reminded Ross of the northern lights back on Earth. Instead of the nightmare fuel other species described, humans found it beautiful and calming. "Send a message to Earth Command," Ross ordered. "Tell them we found something extraordinary, something that could change everything we know about psychic phenomena and human potential." As the Pioneer began its detailed survey of the crystal, the alien scout ship retreated to spread the word. Humans, the strangest species in the galaxy, had done it again. They walked straight into certain death and found opportunity instead. The Dark Zone would never be the same. Humanity had arrived, and they didn't see a terror to avoid. They saw potential. The crystal structure that had inspired fear for millennia was about to get new visitors, whether the galaxy was ready or not. This was just the beginning. The massive display screen in Earth's Defense Command Center showed the sneering face of High Admiral Reed. His purple-tinted skin and silver eyes marked him as one of the Empire's elite, and his expression made it clear what he thought of Earth and its people. "Look at this primitive vessel," Reed said, displaying an image of Earth's newest warship, the TNS Defiant. "It barely qualifies as a cargo hauler by Imperial standards." His laughter echoed through the command center, joined by the chuckles of other Imperial officials visible in the background. Captain James Walker stood at the back of the room, his hands clenched into fists. The TNS Defiant was his ship, and more importantly, it represented the best of human engineering and innovation. 6 months of secret development, countless sleepless nights, and the combined efforts of Earth's finest minds had gone into that vessel. The humans think they can join the Galactic Council as equals, Reed continued, his voice dripping with contempt. They send this toy to protect their borders. Perhaps we should send them some of our outdated patrol boats. Even those would be an improvement over their current defenses. The Earth Defense Council members sat silently, their faces carefully neutral. General Thompson, their head of operations, simply nodded along, playing the role of an embarrassed inferior perfectly. It was exactly what they wanted the Empire to think. Walker watched the Imperial transmission with mixed feelings. Part of him wanted to reveal the truth about the Defiant's capabilities right then and there. The quantum core hidden deep within its hull could generate enough power to rival a small star. The advanced shield systems could absorb hits that would tear apart any Imperial vessel. But that wasn't the plan. We appreciate the Empire's concern, General Thompson replied diplomatically. Earth is still learning its place in the galactic community. More laughter from the Imperial officials. One of them, a junior officer, whispered something to Reed, who smiled wider. Perhaps a demonstration is in order, Reed suggested. The Empire is hosting a military showcase in the Arcturus system next month. Bring your best vessel, this TNS Defiant, and we'll show you what real military power looks like. Walker stepped forward, unable to contain himself any longer. Sir, he addressed General Thompson, request permission to accept the Empire's invitation. The room fell silent. Even the Imperials on the screen seemed surprised by the direct interruption. And you are? Reed asked, his silver eyes narrowing. Captain James Walker of the TNS Defiant, sir. Walker stood straight, meeting Reed's gaze through the screen. Ah, the captain of the toy ship himself. Reed's mock surprise was obvious. Come then, Captain. Show us what Earth's finest can do. We'll even provide you with a proper escort, in case your vessel breaks down along the way. General Thompson looked at Walker, a subtle glint in his eye. This was exactly the opportunity they had been waiting for. Captain Walker has my permission to attend the showcase, he announced. Excellent. Reed clapped his hands together. We look forward to educating Earth on proper military technology. High Admiral Reed out. The screen went dark. In the silence that followed, Walker turned to General Thompson. Sir, are we still maintaining Protocol 7? Affirmative, Captain. Let them underestimate us. Let them mock us. Thompson stood and walked to the window, looking out at the TNS Defiant docked in the orbital station above. They see a primitive vessel held together by hope and outdated technology. Let them keep thinking that, until it's time to show them otherwise. Walker nodded, a small smile forming on his lips. The Empire had no idea what they had just invited to their showcase. They would learn soon enough that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in showing off their power, but in knowing when to reveal it. Prepare your crew, Captain, Thompson ordered. You leave for Arcturus in 3 days. Yes, sir. Walker turned to leave, already mentally preparing for the mission ahead. The Empire wanted a demonstration. They would get one, just not the kind they were expecting. 2 weeks after the Pioneers' discovery, the observation room at Earth's Space Research Center was packed with scientists. They all watched in fascination as Dr. James Brown, the head of Human Neurology Studies, presented his findings about the crystal structure. Look at these brain scans, Dr. Brown said, pointing to the large screen behind him. The display showed 2 different patterns, one calm and organized, the other chaotic and distorted. The image on the left is a human brain near the crystal. The one on the right is an alien brain at the same distance. The room fell silent as the implications became clear. Where alien minds showed patterns of terror and confusion, human brains displayed remarkable stability. Even more interesting, certain areas of the human brain became more active near the crystal. We're not just resistant to the crystal's effects, Dr. Brown explained, his eyes bright with excitement. Our brains are actually working better around it. It's like finding out humans are the only species that doesn't get burned by fire. We get stronger instead. In the back of the room, General Parker of the Earth Defense Force shifted uncomfortably. Are you saying this crystal is making humans psychic? Dr. Brown nodded. In a way, yes. The crystal acts like an amplifier for abilities that were always there, just dormant. Think of it like a radio antenna picking up signals that were too weak to notice before. The scientists began talking all at once. Some worried about the risks. Others wanted to start experiments immediately. But everyone agreed on one thing. This discovery could change everything. We've already seen the effects in the Pioneer's crew, Dr. Brown continued. They report improved memory, faster problem solving, and even shared dreams. Captain Ross says his team can sometimes sense each other's feelings without speaking. A video screen lit up, showing a live feed from the crystal site. 3 more human ships had joined the Pioneer, forming a research station. Unlike the terrified alien vessels that used to flee the area, these ships moved confidently through the crystal's glow. The best part, Dr. Brown said, is that the effects seem to be entirely positive. No nightmares, no madness, just enhancement of natural abilities. It's like the crystal was made for human minds. The meeting continued for hours as they discussed the possibilities. Scientists proposed studies, doctors saw medical applications, and business leaders already dreamed of commercial uses. What other species saw as a cosmic horror, humans saw as the greatest discovery in their history. There's something else, Dr. Brown added near the end of the presentation. The crystal's effects get stronger when more humans are nearby. It's not just adding our abilities, it's multiplying them. 10 people together experience more benefit than 10 people separately. This news caused another stir in the room. The implications were huge. If humans could work together around the crystal, their combined potential might be unlimited. As the meeting ended, Dr. Brown packed up his notes with shaking hands. He wasn't afraid. He was excited. Tomorrow, he would lead the first dedicated research team to the crystal. They would study not just the effects, but why humans were different. Outside the research center, reporters gathered to hear the official announcement. The news would soon spread across Earth, and then to the galaxy. Humans weren't just immune to the crystal's terror, they were enhanced by it. The alien races who had avoided the dark zone for millennia would soon learn that humans had other plans. Where they saw madness, humanity saw miracle. Where they felt fear, humans felt possibility. And this was just the second step in humanity's greatest project, turning the galaxy's most feared location into something entirely new. The Grand Hall of the Galactic Council had never been so loud. Representatives from 50 different species shouted and argued, their voices echoing off the ancient walls. At the center of the chaos stood Ambassador Wilson, Earth's representative, calmly watching the display of alien anger. You cannot be serious about this resort, the High Speaker rumbled, his crystalline body flashing red with emotion. That crystal destroyed entire civilizations. We have records going back millions of years. Wilson waited for the noise to die down before speaking. We've reviewed those records, he said simply. Every civilization that was destroyed approached the crystal with fear. None of them tried to understand it. None of them were human. This caused another explosion of protests. A tall, bug-like alien stepped forward, waving a glowing tablet. I have here the account of the lost fleet of the Third Empire. 10,000 ships vanished in that sector. The few survivors went mad. And how many human ships have we lost there? Wilson asked quietly. The room fell silent. None. Not a single one. In fact, our people are thriving there. The Council's historians brought out ancient books and recordings, showing countless disasters caused by the crystal. Species after species had tried to study it, destroy it, or contain it. All had failed. All had suffered. The crystal drives minds mad, insisted a floating cloud of light that served as another council member. This is not a matter of debate. It is a fact proven by millions of deaths. Wilson activated a small projector, showing live feeds from the construction site. Human workers moved efficiently around the crystal, their minds clear and focused. The aliens watched in disbelief as humans casually worked in conditions that would drive their own species insane. As you can see, Wilson said, what's deadly to one species might be beneficial to another. We're not ignoring your warnings. We're showing you there's another way. An elder member of the council, old enough to remember the last great disaster, spoke slowly. What if you're wrong? What if the crystal is simply waiting? What if it drives your entire species mad at once? That's why we're taking precautions, Wilson explained. The resort will have the strongest shielding ever created. Non-human visitors will be protected. We're not being reckless, we're being careful in our own way. But the council wasn't convinced. They voted to demand the immediate halt of the Mindscape Resort project. They threatened trade sanctions, diplomatic isolation, even military action. The humans listened politely to all the threats, then continued building anyway. You don't understand, Wilson told them as the session ended. We're not asking for permission. We're extending an invitation. When the resort opens, you're all welcome to visit, safely, comfortably, and under your own terms. The alien representatives were shocked by this response. Humans weren't just ignoring the dangers, they were inviting others to join them. It went against everything the galaxy knew about survival. Back at the resort construction site, Director Miller received news of the council's reaction. He wasn't surprised. The report came with a long list of new threats and warnings, which he read while standing in direct view of the crystal. They're afraid, he told his team during their daily meeting. But fear is how the crystal beats you. We're doing something different. We're making friends with it. As if in response, the crystal pulsed with a soft blue light. The human workers felt the familiar sense of peace and clarity wash over them. No amount of alien protests could change what they knew in their hearts. They had found something special, and they were going to share it with the galaxy. The opposition would continue, but humanity had made its choice. The Mindscape Resort would open, and the universe would have to adapt to a new reality, one where humans turn nightmares into dreams. Who wants to build a hotel around a cosmic horror? Director John Miller asked the crowded meeting room. He grinned as hands shot up all across the space. Even after 6 months of studying the crystal, human enthusiasm hadn't dropped a bit. The development team gathered in Earth's largest space station, reviewing plans for what they called Project Mindscape. On the massive screen behind Miller, detailed blueprints showed a luxury space station wrapped around the crystal structure like a flower opening its petals. The biggest challenge isn't construction, explained lead engineer Thompson, pointing to specific sections of the design. It's making sure our non-human guests can visit safely. We can't exactly open a resort that drives most of our potential customers insane. The solution came in the form of special shielding, developed by studying why human brains work differently around the crystal. The engineering team had created rooms with adjustable protection levels, allowing alien visitors to slowly build up their tolerance to the crystal's energy. Construction began a week later. The work crews reported strange but positive experiences as they built the station. Workers knew what tools their teammates needed before being asked. Welders completed complex jobs with impossible precision. The crystal's energy seemed to help everyone work better together. It's like we're all connected, one construction worker told his supervisor. Not in a creepy way. More like, we just understand each other better. Makes the work go faster when you don't have to explain everything. The station grew around the crystal like a modern city emerging from a natural wonder. Its walls were made of transparent materials that could turn opaque instantly, allowing visitors to control how much of the crystal they wanted to see. The design included meditation rooms, research labs, and luxury suites with views of both space and the crystal's glowing surface. Miller walked through the half-finished corridors, watching his dream take shape. Human workers moved with confidence under the crystal's purple-blue light, their movements smooth and coordinated. The effects that had driven alien species mad for centuries just made humans more efficient. "Look at this," said the head architect, showing Miller a newly completed section. The walls curved gracefully, following the crystal's natural shape. "We didn't plan it this way." The workers said it just felt right, like the crystal was suggesting the best design. Not everything went smoothly. Sometimes the crystal's energy would spike, causing equipment to malfunction. But instead of panicking, the human workers would calmly work together to solve the problem. Their enhanced intuition and coordination made traditional safety protocols almost unnecessary. "We're not just building a hotel," Miller told his team during a progress meeting. "We're proving that humanity's greatest strength is turning the unknown into something beautiful. Where others see danger, we see opportunity." The resort took shape faster than anyone expected. The crystal's energy seemed to help the workers understand their jobs better, making complex tasks simple. Even the computers worked better, as if the crystal's energy improved the flow of electricity through their circuits. As the final sections were completed, Miller stood at the main observation deck, watching stars shine through the crystal's glow. The station looked nothing like traditional human architecture. Its organic curves and flowing lines made it seem like it had grown naturally around the crystal, which in a way it had. "First group of test guests arrives tomorrow," his assistant reminded him. "All human, to make sure everything works properly." Miller nodded, feeling the familiar sense of calm that the crystal provided. Soon, the galaxy's most feared location would become its most exclusive destination. Humanity had done more than just solve a cosmic mystery. They had transformed it into something new. The Mindscape Resort was almost ready to open its doors, and the galaxy would never be the same. The day of the Mindscape Resort's grand opening arrived with a mix of excitement and tension. A line of luxury space cruisers stretched out into space, carrying both eager human guests and cautious alien visitors. The crystal's purple-blue glow reflected off their hulls, creating a light show that could be seen from light years away. Director Miller stood in the resort's main reception hall, watching the first guests arrive. The huge windows showed the crystal structure floating behind layers of special shielding, its energy patterns moving like waves in an alien sea. "First human guests are reporting enhanced meditation experiences already," his assistant reported, checking the initial feedback. "Non-human visitors in the heavily shielded zones are surprised. They expected to feel fear, but the shielding is working perfectly." The resort's design proved its worth in those first hours. Human guests moved freely through areas close to the crystal, their minds clear and focused. Many reported feeling more connected to each other, sharing emotions and simple thoughts without speaking. "It's amazing," one human guest told the resort's news team. "I can feel what my wife is feeling. When she looks at the crystal, I can see it through her eyes too. It's like we're sharing one mind, but we're still ourselves." In the shielded sections, alien visitors watched with a mixture of fear and fascination. Through special windows, they could see humans walking normally in areas that would drive their own species mad. Some brave aliens even requested to try rooms with slightly reduced shielding, taking their first steps toward understanding the crystal's power. "I felt something," reported a jellyfish-like alien after a brief exposure. "Not madness, not terror, something different, like a song I almost remember, but can't quite hear yet." The resort's medical bay, staffed with both human and alien doctors, monitored everyone carefully. They documented everything: humans developing new psychic abilities, aliens slowly building tolerance to the crystal's energy, and the strange ways different species reacted to various shielding levels. "Look at these readings," Dr. Brown told his colleagues, showing them the latest data. "Humans aren't just adapting to the crystal. They're learning to control its effects. Some guests are actually helping to shield their alien friends just by focusing their thoughts." By the end of the first day, the resort was fully booked for the next 3 years. The galaxy's wealthiest and most curious beings all wanted to experience the impossible, a safe way to study the crystal that had terrified civilizations for millions of years. In the resort's luxury restaurant, humans and aliens dined together, sharing stories about their experiences. Through specially designed windows, they could all safely watch the crystal's light show while enjoying meals from 100 different worlds. "I never thought I'd eat dinner while looking at the Great Terror," an alien diplomat admitted to his human dinner companions. "My species has nightmares about this place, but here I am, eating dessert and admiring its beauty. Humans truly are remarkable." As night fell, according to the resort's artificial day-night cycle, Miller walked through the quiet corridors, checking on his guests. Humans relaxed in meditation rooms, their minds linked in peaceful communion. Aliens slept soundly in their shielded suites, having faced their species' greatest fear and survived. "Status report," he asked the night manager. "All guests safe and happy," came the reply. "No incidents, no panic attacks, not even a complaint about the room service. The crystal's energy levels are stable, and the shielding is working perfectly. Sir, I think we did it." Miller smiled, feeling the familiar warmth of the crystal's energy. Humanity had taken the galaxy's oldest nightmare and turned it into a luxury resort. They had proved once again that understanding was better than fear, that innovation could overcome terror. The Mindscape Resort was more than just open. It was changing the galaxy, one guest at a time. 3 months after opening, the Mindscape Resort faced its first real emergency. The warning alarms blared through the station's corridors, their sound sharp and urgent. In the control room, Director Miller stared at the flashing red displays with growing concern. "Main shielding system is failing in Section C," a technician reported, his fingers flying over the controls. "Power fluctuation in the crystal just overloaded 5 backup generators. We have 300 guests in that section, including 50 non-humans. The normal procedure would be to evacuate immediately. But with the shield failing, moving the alien guests would expose them to the raw energy of the crystal. The very thing everyone had feared for millennia was about to happen. How long until total shield failure?" Miller asked, keeping his voice calm. 10 minutes at most. The crystal's energy is stronger than we've ever seen it. It's like it's reaching for something." In the affected section, human guests noticed the change first. The crystal's usual calm influence became stronger, more intense. Instead of running away, they gathered together, drawn by an instinct they didn't understand. "Everyone link hands," called out one of the human guests, an old meditation teacher. "Focus on the crystal. Feel its energy, just like in the relaxation classes." The humans formed a circle around their alien visitors, joining hands. As the shielding flickered and failed, something extraordinary happened. The humans' minds connected, forming a natural barrier between the crystal's energy and their alien guests. "Sir, you need to see this," the technician said, pointing to new readings. "The humans in Section C, their brainwaves are synchronized. They're creating some kind of psychic shield." Miller watched in amazement as 300 humans, most of them ordinary tourists with no special training, worked together instinctively. The crystal's energy flowed through them, but instead of causing chaos, it made their impromptu shield stronger. The alien guests huddled in the center of the human circle, expecting madness and terror. Instead, they felt only a gentle warmth, protected by the combined mental strength of their human guardians. "The backup systems need 15 minutes to restart," the chief engineer reported. "Can they hold out that long?" Miller checked the readings again. The humans weren't just holding. They were getting stronger. More guests from other sections were joining them, adding their minds to the shield. The crystal's energy, which had destroyed whole civilizations in the past, now flowed harmlessly through a network of human minds. "It's beautiful," whispered an alien child, watching the humans glow with the crystal's light. Where its ancestors had seen horror, it saw wonder. The humans maintained their shield for 20 minutes, far longer than the engineers needed to restore power. When the regular shielding came back online, many guests were reluctant to break their connection. They had discovered something new about themselves and their relationship with the crystal. What just happened? Miller asked Dr. Brown, who had been monitoring everything. The crystal wasn't attacking us, the scientist explained, excitement in his voice. It was teaching us. All these months of exposure weren't just about tolerance. They were preparation. The crystal showed us how to use its power to protect others. News of the incident spread quickly through the galaxy. The story of human guests forming a living shield to protect aliens from the crystal's energy became legendary. What could have been the resort's greatest disaster instead became its greatest triumph. That evening, as the excitement died down, Miller found the old meditation teacher who had started the circle. "How did you know what to do?" he asked. The teacher smiled. "I didn't. None of us did. We just listened to the crystal, and it showed us how to help. Maybe that's what it's been trying to do all along." The crisis was over, but its impact would change the galaxy forever. Humanity had proved they could do more than just resist the crystal's power. They could share their protection with others. 1 year after the Shield crisis, the Mindscape Resort had changed in ways nobody could have predicted. The once feared crystal now stood as a symbol of unity between species, its purple-blue light welcoming visitors from across the galaxy. Director Miller sat in his office, reviewing the latest guest statistics. The numbers told an amazing story. Over 10,000 aliens had now completed the Crystal Adaptation Program, learning to handle low levels of crystal energy without fear. Some could even walk through unshielded areas for short periods, something once thought impossible. "The waiting list is now 5 years long," his assistant reported. "And look at this. 3 alien governments have officially requested human teachers to help their people understand the crystal's energy." The resort had grown beyond its original design. New wings sprouted from the main structure, each dedicated to different forms of psychic development. The meditation halls were always full, with humans teaching aliens their techniques while learning new mental skills from their galactic neighbors. "Remember when they wanted to shut us down?" Miller asked Dr. Brown during their weekly meeting. "Now they're sending their best scientists to study with us." The doctor nodded, pointing to his latest research results. "The crystal's effects are evolving. The more minds it connects with, the more it seems to adapt. It's like it's learning from us as much as we're learning from it." In the main observation deck, a group of human children played with young aliens, their minds gently linked through the crystal's energy. They shared feelings, images, and simple thoughts, breaking down barriers that had separated their species for generations. The children show the strongest adaptation, a human teacher explained to visiting scientists. They don't have the fear that adults learn. To them, the crystal is just another part of life. The Galactic Council, which had once threatened war over the resort's creation, now held regular meetings in a specially shielded chamber near the crystal. They found that decisions made in its presence were often wiser, more peaceful, and better for everyone. "The crystal doesn't control our thoughts," explained a council member to new arrivals. "It helps us understand each other. When you can feel what another species feels, it's harder to ignore their needs." Deep in the resort's research wing, human and alien scientists worked together to unlock more of the crystal's secrets. They discovered that the ancient records of destruction and madness were only half the story. The crystal had always had the potential for positive change. It just needed the right approach. "It's like learning to swim," Miller often told new guests. "If you thrash around in fear, you sink. If you relax and work with the water, it holds you up. The crystal works the same way." The resort's success led to new discoveries across the galaxy. Other cosmic phenomena that species had avoided for millennia were now being studied with human help. The age of running from the unknown was ending, replaced by an era of understanding. "Look at this," said a young alien researcher, showing Miller a historical document. "All those ancient civilizations that were destroyed, they were trying to control or fight the crystal. None of them ever tried to simply live in harmony with it. On the crystal's surface, patterns of light danced in ever-changing ways. Some said they could see images of the future in its glow, a future where fear no longer divided species, where understanding replaced terror, and where the greatest threats became the greatest opportunities. As Miller watched the day's last tour group walk safely through what was once the most feared region of space, he smiled. Humans hadn't just built a resort. They had shown the galaxy a new way forward. The crystal pulsed gently, its light touching all who visited, no longer a source of nightmares but a beacon of hope. The dark zone had become the brightest spot in the galaxy, all because humans had done what they did best: turn the impossible into the everyday.